Hi guys. How you guys doing?
My goodness.
Okay, have you ever just walked right past the fabric section at the thrift store, afraid to pick it up for resale because you have no clue what you're doing with it? I'm here to help. I've been selling fabric as a part-time reseller for a long time, and I'd love to help you figure out what to do with this stuff. My name is Angela, and I've been a stay-at-home mom and a homeschool mom basically my entire adult life. And now, in less than 5 years, I'm officially going to be retiring from that role. So hard to believe, but it is happening. So now I'm sharing what I know with you guys on YouTube, and I'm on Facebook as well. You can find me over there at Mom Rebooted. I'm a part-time reseller, part-time realtor, but this channel's focused is on reselling. So if you're a thrifter, a sifter, even if you just like thrifting and you don't like the reselling part, you'd probably love my channel because I have a lot of thrift with me videos and I think we would have a good time together. Come catch me in the comments section over there. All right, we're talking about fabric today, guys. I've got some here that I picked up at the thrift store and I'm gonna tell you all about it. So you're gonna wanna stay to the end of the video because I'm gonna help you out with not only I'm going to take you to the thrift store to figure out how to identify different kinds of fabric and really show you what it's like to look through the fabric section and get a good idea of what you've got going on. And I'm going to show you everything you need to know about it. How to identify it, what to look for in your fabric, how to measure it, how to list it, everything. I'm going to go from beginning to end. So hit the like button and drop me a comment if you think this video is going to provide you some value, and maybe drop me another comment at the end and let me know what you thought of it. So some of the great parts about selling fabric are, number one, it's very easy to store. You can lay it flat once it's folded for the most part. It's really easy to store. I'm someone who sells a lot of hard goods, so a lot of my items are not that easy to store, but fabric is, and I love that. So whenever you pick it up, you know you'll be able to just fold it up and lay it flat somewhere. Easy. Just like if you're a clothing reseller, most of those are easy to store. And of course, along with that comes the fact that it's really easy to ship. A lot of times a poly mailer will do the trick. And again, that's very easy for me since I'm used to packing and shipping hard goods. Fabric is like a sigh of relief on shipping day when it's time for me to get, well, I ship every 6 days a week, but in the morning when it's shipping time, it's such a relief to just be able to pack and ship fabric. Number three, it's a really quiet niche. There's not a lot of people selling fabric out there as compared to like a clothing reseller. So it's a lot easier. Well, I'm not going to say that, but it's not a lot easier, but it is a quiet niche. It's probably not quite as flooded. My dog is slurping in the background. It's okay, Scout. Keep drinking. It's okay. He's giving me the look. Anyway, and also most of the time it's not very expensive to buy. So let's talk a little bit about exactly what we want to do here before I take you to the thrift store with me. I want you to get a pen and paper so you can write some things down so that when you go to the thrift store, you can have this pen and paper with you so you can remember a few things. What I want to do first is talk to you about what I normally pay for fabric. So a lot of times I'm going to spend between $1 and $3 per yard. I really ideally like to stay closer to $1 to $2 per yard. That's just my preference because I know what I want to get out of it for profit. If there's a big bulk amount of fabric, like a lot of yards of fabric, I may pay a little more, or if it's a decorator's fabric, kind of the more you do it, the more you'll start to have knowledge about it. I can't share everything with you here because some of it is just experiential learning, but I want to get to where you're comfortable doing that. So I usually like to stick to just a couple bucks per yard. So when I'm buying it, and you'll see in the Thrift With Me portion of this video, you'll see where I'm looking at the different pieces of fabric, and I'm going to talk you through what I'm thinking when I'm looking at those pieces of fabric. So write that down. You want to just pay a couple bucks per yard if possible, so that you can get a good return. The next thing you want to keep in mind is that not all fabric is going to sell. Sometimes there's a lot of fabric out there, but it doesn't mean it's all going to be good for you to pick up, even if it's cheap. Just like the same rule of thumb for all other areas of reselling, just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's good. So you want to stick to something that has a really pretty okay, I shouldn't say really pretty. Stick to something that has a pattern that catches your eye. If you are finding just plain colors, like just plain red, just plain blue, you want to stay away from those. People can get those anywhere, and that's not generally what they're going to be looking for. Patterns are important, some kind of pattern. The next thing you want to check when you're looking at your items is to make sure they don't have any weird smells, because my general rule of thumb is when I'm selling fabric, I'm not washing it. No washing. I don't mess with it at all. If anything, I could give it a little airing out if I need to, but if it has smells, pets, cigarettes, anything, mildew, just leave it. It's not worth it because people are using these for craft projects. They want a nice clean piece of fabric when it arrives. Also, make sure you're not buying less than a yard. If you're buying less than a yard for a specific piece of fabric, unless it's something really crazy or it's quilt piecing, it's just not going to be worth it. I like to do at least two. Steph, it's okay. I like to do at least 2 yards if I can. Sometimes if it's something really special, I'll do a yard, but oh my gosh, hang on. It was the mail guy. Speaking of that, if you're not doing USPS pickup from your house, if you can do that in your area, you need to do it. It's gonna save you so much time and gas money and all that. Okay, where were we? So you're gonna wanna look for at least 1 to 2 yards. I don't even usually like to do 1 yard unless it's something really special. But 1 to 2 yards at least is even better. The more fabric you have, generally the better your profit margins are going to be. Now, you have a choice then. You can sell it as a whole for a larger amount, or you can tell people by the yard. Sometimes I will list it and I'll say I have 6 yards available. They'll, the buy it now price will show that. And then the description I'll say, if you just want a yard, I'll split it up like this. I like to get between $8 to $10 per yard if I can for fabric. So I'm buying for generally $1 to $2 per yard. Are you picking up what I'm laying down here? And I'm trying to resell it for between $8 to $10 per yard. So for example, if I pick something up like $2 for 2 yards of fabric, I would like to turn that around to between like $15 and $20. That's kind of the math that I do in my head when I'm looking at yardage. Now let's go thrifting together, and I'm gonna show you on the rack with all of these pieces of fabric exactly my thought process. I'm gonna teach you a little bit of something about how to look for certain things, what to look for, how to feel the fabric, and a couple other tips for you. Come on, let's go. Okay, so jumping right in, I'm gonna pull a piece of fabric out and I'm gonna show you something first here. Now, this store is really great because they always put the yards on here for us, so they measure it for us. That's not going to be true at every thrift store, but don't worry, at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how to measure fabric when you're at the store. What you're seeing here is the selvage edge, and that's why I want to show you this. It's going to have the designer's name, the collection name, and the color dots. Those color dots show what different dyes are in this specific pattern. So I wanted to show you that on that piece, and then we're going to get in here and look a little bit more. Now, not every thrift store is going to have this. This is really special because they will measure them for us. They're not all going to have it, but this is how I just look through. I'm looking at patterns. I'm staying away from plain colors, see? And I'm just browsing around for something interesting that catches my eye. Now look at this. You'll see on the shelf here that I pull another one out, and interestingly enough, this is the same one, the bed and breakfast. Again, they've got it marked, and did you see how that said 3/4 of a yard for a little over $2? That's not the price point I was talking about. Here's another one with bed and breakfast. And that price point is a little bit more doable. Remember, $1 to $2 per yard is what I say, and you want to get at least a couple of yards if you can for better profit margins. So I'm going to pull this out so you can take a look at it. Just keep in mind, interesting patterns. This is the selvage edge. Again, it's going to tell you the maker's name and the designer's name. Beautiful fabric here. Now, next up is a special one, and what I really like is vintage fabric, and this is vintage fabric. This is a very thick fabric called upholstery fabric. And they have quite a few yards here. See the texture here? This is corduroy and upholstery fabric. It's going to be much thicker than cotton, and that's how you can identify it. It'll be very thick, it'll have a really good texture, and it will feel like something you would have on a chair or an outdoor pillow or something like that. Now this price point makes sense. Let's move on and I'll help you look at something else. If you see a fabric like this that has little cutouts on the end like that, those are called eyelets. And as you can see, that has little delicate embroidery features. This is a pretty good price point too. So for this one, I would use keywords like embroidered, eyelet, pastel, yellow. This might be vintage. It's really adorable. I might even use keywords like shabby chic in this. See the little patterns here? This is an interesting piece. This is more decorators or upholstery fabric. See how chunky this is? There's going to be a lot of fabric there. Now, tapestry is another good word to use for something like this. As you can see, they're only asking $8.99. This is for 2.5 yards. Normally, I would say, no, that's not a good idea, but look at how much fabric is here. It's very chunky, good fabric. So again, keywords here are tapestry, upholstery. You're going to want to jot those down and remember those. Those are keywords. I kind of took a peek at this one, but realized quickly it wasn't a vintage. Now this one does appear to be vintage, but without actually checking the measurements, it's hard to say, but see how it has kind of the vintagey look? This looks to be rayon fabric, and the way that you can identify rayon is it's got a little bit of a shine to it. It's going to be very flowy, lightweight fabric. It'll feel very smooth to the hand, or it could even be like a polyester blend, but that's how rayon will feel. That's good for making clothing items. I will tell you that when I'm buying fabric, I do like to keep an eye out for floral. All kinds of floral patterns do well for me, and so you'll want to keep an eye out for pretty floral pieces. The colors in this one are just beautiful. 4 yards for $11.99, that's good. This one looks to be cotton. This is from either the 1980s or 1990s, I think. And it does say crafted with pride in the USA, which indicates that to me, but that doesn't mean it's 80s or 90s. That's just my guess. So to me, this appears to be cotton fabric, and that's important because you'll need to put that in your listing. Cotton is going to feel smooth to the touch. It's got a matte finish. It can wrinkle kind of easily. This is cotton fabric. Now let's take a look at this one. To me, this could just have a vintage look, but it could be vintage. The reason that this looks like vintage to me, oh, let's take a look here. This could very well be a cotton polyester blend, but this reminds me of something you would use on kind of an old shirt or something like that back in the day. So you can see that we've got lots of layers here. There's a good amount of fabric here. And the reason it looks vintage is these square edge daisies. Now that doesn't make it vintage, but that is really a vintage style when you see square edge daisies like that. That's a great piece. Oops, had the camera turned around weird for a second there. Anyway, here we go. We're looking at more decorator fabric here, and see how this edge is so rough? That's how thick this fabric is. It's not really delicate. Here we go. 4 yards for $11.99. That's good by 54 inches, even better. Again, this is called the selvage edge. We see the copyright here. We've got the design, we've got the maker, and the collection. Those are all good things, and you're going to want to get pictures of those when you're taking pictures if they have a selvage edge. It's going to be important to a buyer that's looking for that. They may be in the middle of an upholstery project or a craft project, and they want to know exactly what they're getting. So let me show you a few things. So these look to be pretty pretty. They're probably newer, but these are the kind of things I'm talking about when I talk about interesting designs. So floral, again, is going to do really well. I'm pulling out some different floral pieces for you to see here. If there are autumn tones, use words like autumn or fall. This is a newer print, but it's still a very pretty piece of fabric, probably Hobby Lobby. Like I said, I do like selling vintage, but I don't have to sell vintage. So you'll want to just look around. Again, don't forget what these are called. These are eyelets and embroidery in this fabric. And $5.99 for 2 1/8 yard. I'm not super thrilled with that. I would probably like to do more like $3 or $4 in this, but it is very, very pretty. It's very pretty. And again, eyelets. So put that in your mind, and embroidery. I use words like shabby chic for this just because I just think it goes well with that. Now, take a look at this texture here. This is going to be a flannel texture. It's going to feel soft and fuzzy and cozy. It's going to be thicker than cotton, but not quite as thick as wool, and not nearly as scratchy. So this one has butterflies for it. It's great for making little kids' clothes or blankets or things like that. So I want to give you an up-close look at the texture here. Very soft, very, very soft. And when people think flannel, they usually think plaid, but that's not necessarily true. Now this one, some keywords to use on something like this would be sheer striped. Sheer means you can almost see through the fabric on some parts. Not perfectly clear, it's not clear, it's sheer. So I would use keywords like sheer and striped on that fabric. I would also use the word pastel because it's a light yellow. And pastel, if you're not familiar with colors, pastel is like a light color. So this is a pastel yellow sheer striped fabric. This one here I would do for baby fabric. Do you see how that has a little bit of a stretch? That's a jersey knit. Remember, jersey knit is soft and very stretchy. That's going to be good for things like shirts, baby caps, baby clothes. And anytime you find a flannel pink, blue, and white, or a jersey knit pink, blue, and white, make sure you use the words baby or baby craft or baby clothes in your description. That's really going to help you. I just kept coming back to that fabric for some reason, but I didn't end up buying it. Now this one is special. See how the little pearls are attached there? Look for interesting fabrics like that. Raised pearls is what I would use in the description for that one. Here's another piece that's interesting. So just look for things that are going to catch your eye. Now, this one looks like something that I would use keywords like spring, lightweight, striped, pastel. Again, that looks like a vintage fabric. Is this helping you guys at all with identifying? Now, this one has a lot of shine. This is not a silk. This just has a lot of shine, and use keywords like shiny when you have a shiny fabric. However, I don't usually sell solids, so I wouldn't pick that one up. Now, that's totally your call, but solids are going to be harder to sell for the most part. Like I said, unless it was silk for the most part. Now, you may end up in a store that doesn't have all these, and that's okay. Let's see how I can help you out from home here with the next steps. So we've got a piece of fabric home. I'm going to cut off the tags first. And for this store, I'm going to save this tag to come back to because they're really good about telling me exactly what the measurements are. And I always forget. But I'm still going to show you how to measure it on your own. You're going to be able to use the measuring tricks when you are at the thrift store or at home. So it shows here, this is 44 inches wide and it's 4.5 yards. I'm also going to show you how to measure yards without measuring tape when you're at the thrift store or when you're at home. So make sure you stay for that too. So I'm cutting these off. Be very careful not to cut your fabric. It's extremely important. If you cut something in the middle of the fabric, that fabric is kind of going to have to be separated into multiple pieces or it's just ruined. So again, this is very, very thick fabric. Decorator's fabric or upholstery fabric. I could use both of those keywords. They're not all going to have the clean edge like this, the selvage edge. And that's okay, it's not necessary, but people do like to see that. So when you're taking your photos, make sure you take a photo of your selvage edge so people can see the edge. If there are maker's marks, this one doesn't have any, but you would add those in the photos as well. So I'm looking through all the layers here. You can see this is a lot of fabric. Actually, you might not actually realize how much fabric is here. There is a lot of fabric here. So for those of you that don't deal with fabric at all, you might think 4.5 yards, that doesn't sound like very much, but it is. So, okay, I'm pointing out the ridges here so you guys can really see the texture. We know this is corduroy because it has those straight, even though the plaid can get kind of confusing here, it has those straight lines. But look, 4 yards is a lot of fabric. See all this fabric? It just goes on and on and on. It's probably a lot more than you realize. If you're not into fabric, you don't really do well with numbers, 4 yards is quite a bit. To give you an idea, here's this 4-yard fabric stretched out. It's a lot of fabric. Does that help you guys get an understanding of what I'm talking about? Beautiful, beautiful fabric here. I would have loved to know what someone made with this, right? Okay, so here I'm showing you, this is how we're going to do this. Now, the fabric is usually folded in half. And measuring the width, see how I went to the folded end? The easiest way for you to measure your width is to go from this folded end right here, see this? All the way down to the end here. And you're going to take your measuring tape and you're just going to pull it over across the fabric like this. You're going to start on that end and go down to the folded end. You can take a photo if you'd like, or you can just put it there, but see that? 22 inches. So double that since it's folded over and it's going to be about 44 inches. 44 inches was usually 80s to 90s fabric. Now you can do your research on all those, but that's what it is. And now I'm going to show you, if you're in the thrift store and they have not measured it for you like this one did, how to measure it on your own. Don't forget we've got the width. This is the 44-inch part. See, you've got that edge and then you've got the folded edge. So it's folded over, but I want to show you, see, there's the fold. This is what we just measured, 44 inches wide. But I want to show you the important part that you need to know at the thrift store, not that. The important part is how many yards. And here's how my mother-in-law taught me to measure yards. Take your arm to your chin. That's always going to be about 1 yard. See that? From my arm stretched all the way out. From my stretched out arm to my chin, for almost every person, it's the same unless your child is doing it. That's about 1 yard. And it doesn't really vary much. People might think like, unless you have like actually really unusually short arms, that's about 1 yard. So we can do 1, 2, here's 3 yards. See how I measure from my chin to my hand? This is how you can do it in the thrift store to see how many yards you have, or when you're at estate sales or garage sales or anything like that. There's about 4 yards, and I've got my arm stretched all the way out. And then see how I'm bunching it up here and just pulling from the same section? And this one is not quite. So we would call this 4.5 yards. Now it might be closer to the other, like 4 3/4. But that's okay. So that gives you a general idea, if you're in the thrift store, how to be measuring your fabric. I hope this helped you guys. So don't forget, this is decorators or upholstery fabric. This is also happens to be a corduroy. You can tell by the straight lines here. Okay, the straight lines here mean corduroy. The thickness tells you it's a decorators or upholstery fabric. Some people also call it duck fabric. If it is a fabric that is just pretty, it's soft but structured, that's going to be cotton. You're going to see cotton the most. If it's very soft and has a lot of stretch, that's a jersey knit. You can be writing all this down if you need to, but you don't need to know exactly until you get home. And you can comment on any of my videos, or you can send me a message on Facebook and ask me any questions you have about fabric. Don't forget, guys, $1 to $2, $1 to $3 if you really like, per yard is what you want to pay so you can get a profit out of it. The more yards you can get at a time, the better your profit's usually going to be. And people that are going to be looking for this are people that are looking to finish a project, maybe start a new project, but sometimes finish a project. They're looking for old fabric, vintage fabric. It could be brand new, modern fabric, and they just want to make something and they're looking for something special. You've got it. And this is so easy to store. Fold it up, put it away, easy to ship in a poly mailer. Just double check the weight so you know about how much it's going to weigh. If you're new to selling fabric, you might not be aware. And I hope that really helps. Can you guys do me a favor if you haven't done it already? Can you drop me a comment down in the comment section and share this with a reseller or with a reseller community that you know, maybe on any of your socials, or share it with a friend, share it wherever you'd like, because I would love for more people to be able to sell fabric. I can't believe how many people are, well, I can believe it. There would have been a time when I didn't know. But there are a lot of people that just don't know a lot about selling fabric, and it's a great item to resell if you can. I hope this helped. Make sure you like and subscribe for more videos, and go check out another one of my videos right now. Let me know how you're finding this channel, and I hope I'll see you next time. See you later, guys. Bye.